And thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. So yes, listening, it's really, I find if you really actively listen, you'll hear a lot more than you probably expect. A number of themes I thought from this morning. One was the rhythm of speech. When people are speaking and you're really intently listening to them, quite often I find speeches pass very quickly and you've just heard a lovely word and you want to pause on it a little bit and they've moved on to the next thing. So I think there's something to be said for trying to adopt a rhythm, or else trying to adapt a speech that recycles back into what you've said before. So you've heard the thing and you hear it again, you say, ah, that's it. So a great example was in Delhi's speech. He used the word love over and over and over again until you kept on hearing love. Oh, there it is again, and there it is again, and there it is again. And that way, you can use that technique on any speech where you allow people the chance to hear a thing again. You go, oh, that's what it was. And I think there's something very comforting. And it means it helps you settle into a person's speech. Ian had the same thing, where he used the technique of a 5-act description. And then that would allow him to go back into Act 2 and talk a bit about that and use some of the language around that. So I thought that was something to note. Take your time. And I think, certainly I feel I want to get through the speech, but sometimes it's useful to iterate back through it again and pick up the same expressions over and over. That was one thing. I thought another great example of when you're listening to someone speaking, sometimes you need a bit more energy. And Julie Galante just came out with energy. I sat up when she started speaking. It's like there's an energy in her speech. And I think maybe sometimes we need to just pump up the energy levels ourselves, add an extra 20% to what we normally do, because that makes you prick up your ears a little bit more and listen more intently. So I think rhythm and energy were two things that came across this morning. Also, I thought in terms of linguistic style, I thought we had examples of three very different styles. One was the internal dialogue, just talking out what's in your head, and Mark gave us a great example of that. We had the storytelling style, where Ian told us a story about how to tell stories. And so that was a lovely way, as a style, I was able to really follow that very well and pick up the language within that. And then there was Delhi's, who took us on a journey, a metaphorical journey in time and place. So lovely different types of linguistic styles. Another thing came across for me, the things that pick up, your ear kind of picks out, are quotes or familiar expressions. So there was a lovely one from Jess, was to sit back, relax, and enjoy. And I really like that. There were other quotes that I heard. There were great examples of metaphors. And one of my favorites is alliteration, where you repeat the same consonant at the start of words. And I was trying to understand, why is it that we like that? And apparently, as Ian was telling us, the brain loves patterns, and alliteration is a pattern. And there was a beautiful, beautiful alliteration from Neil, which we go full tilt into table topics. How about that? Full tilt into table topics. We also had one from Mario, who talked about, my favorite fruit is a future fruit. I can hardly even say it. Another great example of alliteration, and that pattern we really love. So my parting shot is rhythm, and take your time, and don't mind repeating your speech, and otherwise just use all the words you can.
Thank you very much, Seamus.